today's kind of a day off. We pushed hard last night to weld this here. This thing is welded. It has a warp in it. I think I'm going to have to cut part of the welds out to get the warp out of it. I'm not quite sure. I think maybe the last 2/3 on either side I will have to do. And I was having trouble with my welder. I wasn't getting very clean welds. I think I either overheated the torch or something. Not really quite sure what happened there. But I'm going to build one for the other side. These are the corner pieces going up from the side up. The rainstorm we had the other day, I found out that I had several leaks in my rivets. So I got some new products coming in that's made for aluminum boats. To seal between all the rivets, it's epoxy. And I'm pretty sure the paint would do it too, but I want to get something extra on there just in case. So I'm going to get that to epoxy around all the rivets and I'll paint it. I gotta come up here and cut off the edges. That piece I just showed you does this thing right here. Oh god, that sounds bright. That'll be that corner piece. It'll be beefy like this back piece over here. And see how beefy that one is. It's basically the same thing that's in there, that this one's just blended in better. And the side over there needs to be blended in better. Oh god, lost my sandal. It's okay. It's not bad. Anyhow, so next task is I figured out how to do the floors, which means a completely different change of gears, direction basically, not gears. But I got most of the sheet metal out of the inside there, so I can actually work on this. So basically what I'm going to do is lay down the rock wool and the foam first. After I get all this cleaned up, laying down the rock wool and foam, then I got the measurements. I'll probably double check my measurements again. For the bars going across, that's going to be my floor in here. And measure from the tanks down kind of thing. I might pull an inch out of the floor below the tanks here. Once I kind of have that figured out, go make me a bunch of pieces that go across like this. Then use that little cutoff thing, that flat one. Cut me little squares everywhere that the supports are going to go. Put my wood in there. Put my supports in there. Drill my hole. Put my all thread in. Then pull it up. And then put the piece in there and screw it in. Also, I have self-tapping screws that I might end up using. That would get me moving forward on the subfloor in here. Along with the tanks, I got the other one fixed. Yeah, that's probably what we're going to do. Until I get the rivets and the other stuff going, I can't mess with the front part. So, let us start up the engine. And we will pull it forward and start emptying this out. Still waiting on parts, and but while I'm waiting on parts, since I already got some stuff pre-done, I have figured out the subfloor and the floor. Kind of got the measurements the other day, and we're going to start working towards that. First step is to get everything all cleaned up, out of the way, put up. I think I'll move the air conditioner up high where it's up out of the way too, and get this all cleaned up. Next step is, originally I was going to go with 4 inches of floor insulation. However, I want to reduce that in some key spots. So like where the water tanks is, if there's room, I'll add 4 inches. If there's not room, it'll just be 2 inches of rigid foam. And the extra 2 inches will be rock wool underneath it to help kill some sounds coming up from underneath. And this gives me a little extra insulation. It won't be as good as a solid 4-inch floor, but that's okay. Main reason is I want to put 6 inches in the ceiling of insulation. The outermost layer is rock wool with a some sort of barrier between there, with about an inch air gap in between it, and then some rigid foam. And that air gap, we're going to try something, maybe. I haven't decided if I really want to do it because there's a lot of extra work involved in this idea. Mainly because Tiles Rigs has it. What he has is basically has an air gap in between his insulation, and it pulls air, fresh air in, so even though it's hot outside, it's running fresh air from the shaded environment in there and pulling the heat out so it doesn't get as hot as so fast. So I'm toying with that idea. I also might put it on the inside of the cab or the outside of the cab, but probably in between the foam layers, and then have 1 inch, maybe 3/4 inch. It doesn't have to be a full inch. Main thing is it has to be able to pull air through the ceiling. And I'm pursuing that as a possible idea. So I need extra headroom right now. I'm not running out of headroom, but I don't want my head on the ceiling because that's the best way to make your space seem really tiny, is have your head right at the ceiling. So we want it to feel nice and roomy in here, even though we're doing a floor raise and some other stuff. So the best way is to, anywhere like tanks, waste tank, and battery, is to cut it down by 2 inches, which gives me more flexibility. But yeah, let's get it started and cleaning it out. Cut the box out. I considered leaving it in there. Basically, it's going to be easier to do the work to, got an earplug in my ear. It sounds funny. Be easier to do the work to add the tanks, the composting toilet, and the tub with that out there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out, and if later on I decide I want to add it back in, I can. Folks. And I might do that farthest one too. The propane one's going to stay in here, but this one here also might get pulled out. I haven't decided yet on that one. I'll probably decide when I'm cutting this one out. Still debating. Also, the floor, I was going to cut 2 inches out of the floor because I got it way too high. I want to get it shorter. I was already going to do 2 inches, but I wanted to see if I could get a little bit more insulation in. And it turns out I can. I can get the rock wool in there and then 1 inch of rigid foam insulation in there, which will do everything I need it to do, and I'll still clear for my tanks there, which it'll get best of both worlds, and also the PIX line will fit in the 1 inch of foam. So that's going to happen.
move it, baby. Move it, body.
Anyhow, that one's attached. This one I'm going to get attached. I had to get it in here and figure out kind of what support brackets I need to add into it and everything else. I still got to finish attaching that one. I technically don't have enough to get done this weekend, but I don't think I'm going to get that far this weekend anyhow. So I got that one. I have this one I have to redo over here for the water tanks, plus one I had to modify so the water tanks can slide in it. The goal is to get as low as I possibly can with maintaining the water tanks underneath it and everything else. So I still have a pretty good living space, but everything's in the subfloor. This is also going to have, well, this is such a small tank, it's probably going to have 2 inches of insulation on the floor. Plus the radiant floor is going to be underneath this in the subfloor area, so it heats the tanks and keeps the tanks warm in cold environments. If I can figure out a way to tie in the radiant floor into the actual floor, I will. But for right now, it's access. So maybe I'll figure out something. But you can tell I pulled out both the back things. I'm going to pull out that square thing also. It just makes it easier for making everything custom for this shape. I don't have to build around it. I can put it back in here after I'm done once I figure out how it needs to go. It also makes it easier to attach over here on the walls and the subframe and the subfloor area. So that's why I went with it this way. But I'm hoping I should have enough stuff to get to the steps. And I was saving that long piece for the front area. I'm still waiting on rivets to get here. It's been 2 weeks already, or a week and a half. So I don't know what's going on. There seems to be a high demand and a supply issue right now. So we'll figure that out a little bit later. Not much I can do about it right now. It is what it is. So I'm kind of twiddling my thumbs, getting stuff done that I can get done, not necessarily achieving everything that I want done. But we'll figure it out from here. I probably am going to have to get me another couple bars of this 1x2 to get it. So each 10-foot section gets me one of these bars. So a single bar that I order, I get 2 of these out of it. So I need at least 2 more bars plus support stuff. And it's nice because this doesn't have to be as tight spaced as up on the bed platform, because this is supported everywhere you see one of these pieces and the corner piece, so it doesn't have to support free floating weight up in the air, so it doesn't need as much support in it. I'll probably still, even though that, run some supports across here, here, and here, and I'll probably weld them in. I might bolt them in, I don't know. The goal for this is the gray tank, and it has a slide thing. It's actually meant to hang underneath the Class A. So I'm going to put a little 1x2 here. And what I'm going to do is slide it into place from outside. That way, if I ever have to replace it, I can slide it out and slide it in. It'll be locked in. I don't have to worry about bolting it, welding it, or anything else. The water tanks are going to be a little bit more complicated because they need a bracket around them, help hold them in place and tied in. So, and I haven't built the bracket yet, but it's coming soon. Anyhow, this is going to give me a pretty good living space. So I'm happy with it.
Memories filling up my mind and I can't seem to push him back. These times ingrained in my mind and I just can't let it go. How did I lose the way through the things that really matter? These complications spin my mind, but I know I gotta keep pushing through. Yeah, I keep doing my own thing. Yeah, never looking back again. I can get it, I can make it, yeah, I know it, and I'm never looking back again. Yeah, never looking back again. I can get it, I can make it, yeah, I know it, and I'm never looking back again.